And you already know who it is. It's myself, King Jones, and it's the football pull-up. We got the podfather here. We got Uncle Steve, the Liverpool man. You know what I'm saying? Let's give him a round of applause, podfather. Give him one-handed clap. One-handed clap, even though you're in the corner shop or something, you know.
Yeah. Welcome.
That's all right. LFC's in the house today. LFC's in the house.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we can see why the podfather's in the shop, because he's obviously trying to buy some players for Chelsea. Because
shouldn't the question be who they're not buying?
Chelsea are like one-sided eBay, just selling everybody, just selling. So obviously, I want to get into it with some of the news we've got. Obviously,
we need all the players we can get, man.
Yeah, it's true. We've got a lot of news to talk about. We've got Declan Rice, you've got Timber, you've got that player that's gone to Liverpool that nobody can pronounce properly. But we want to talk about the biggest news that I think, obviously, we've got a player in De Gea leaving Man United after 12 years. And it looks like Man United are getting Onana. So straight to you, Uncle Steve, what do you think about this? Firstly, about De Gea leaving and how it happened and if they should have got rid of him. And secondly, about Onana coming in and replacing De Gea.
Personally, what I think is it's sort of a knee-jerk reaction. I think they didn't plan properly for De Gea's departure. I think they're now scrambling around. I think Onana, personally, I'm not sure. Well, the jury's out. We'll see if he's the answer. But I personally think they should have kept De Gea on for one more year and properly scouted who they really wanted, as opposed to winding his contract down and going for Onana, which I get a feeling wasn't a plan of Ten Hag's for the last 6 months. I don't think it was in his head we're going to get him, because there was no news about him, nothing leaked out, and it's sort of the last week or 2 weeks that they've been trying to get a goalkeeper in, and he's the one who seems available for the price that they can afford. So it'll be interesting. My own thoughts is he might struggle at times in his first season, especially with his ball control.
Yeah,
and also the defense have got to get to know his style of play, which they have totally not played with any goalkeeper like that in the past.
No.
So it'll be interesting, but there's a lot of work to do if they get him over the line in terms of training and getting the defense up to speed in how he plays, because he's a very good baller, but shot stopping, crossing, nothing special.
Okay, so just quickly before I go to Podfather, a lot of Man United fans are already saying that he's going to be the third best keeper in the league after Ederson and Alisson. Do you think he just walks in with that reputation, or he has to prove himself above lesser goalkeepers, Pickford, Ramsdale, other goalkeepers in the league?
He's got to prove it. He's played for Inter Milan, but if those of you who watched enough of football, the Champions League, would have seen that Inter Milan's defense was solid. Yeah. So clean sheets or very low goals conceded was pretty much on the back of the defense. So he came with a really good record. But if you watched him closely in a number of games in the league, it's mistakes he made on the ball and it's passing that he's been hurried, but that wasn't consistent. The Premier League, as we spoke before, they close you down. They close you down quickly. And he's going to be singled out for that because he's been put with that reputation. And as I said before, United, they were going to go for Pickford about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I had really no idea who they were going to actually get. Pickford looked like it was going to be a deal. Then, for whatever reason, they changed their mind. So, will he be the third best keeper? Possibly. But I don't think United fans should have too high expectations, because he's going to find it really difficult coping with the changes of the Premier League, the pace, the closing down, the franticness, high balls, long crosses. And I think the biggest challenge will be week to week. He'll play City one week, he'll play Wolves next week, totally different style. He'll play Brentford next week, Liverpool. The styles are so different from the Italian League, where the Italian League is pretty much consistent. They all play a certain way. Premier League is unique in that no two games will be exactly the same. So his first season, I think he's going to be finding it really challenging.
Okay. And to go to you, Podfather, obviously we know that Onana is going to be better than Kepa, but how do you feel about him coming to United? Do you think he changes them, puts them closer towards challenging for the league? And what do you think about De Gea leaving, how it happened and the ramifications it could have? Oh, and also, sorry, just to tag on to that, a lot of non-United fans actually said that De Gea deserved more respect and, should have been, the way he was ousted was wrong. They shouldn't have done it to him like that. What do you think? Yeah.
First of all, why did you mention Kepa? I don't understand. Is that a shot? Anyway, yes, he's better than Kepa, which doesn't take that much. I have a bit of a different view to Steve. I really rate this guy's ability on the ball, basically. And the good thing about Ten Hag would have managed them before at Ajax. I think that they were there at the same time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah, he
that
managed him. He managed him. He managed him.
when they go to the semis or whatever. So at least even if you have, you know, you tend to be one of those kind of players who play off the cuff or do crazy things or whatever. You're joining a team where you've worked under this manager for, you know, a good couple of years, so he knows you. So nothing you're doing should be a surprise to him. And if he doesn't like a certain part of your game, he should be able to either like know your weaknesses to work on. He's been in the league now a year, and be able to exploit your strengths. One thing I saw in the Champions League final is that City had an amazing pressing team, probably one of the best in the Premier League after, unless like Liverpool when they're like on during the glory days, yeah. and even they could impress him. They just gave up. They just literally just said, listen, once that guy gets the ball, there's no point going to him. He's just gonna lay it to one side, pass, do whatever. And I think we are getting to the stage in modern football where, regardless of whatever position you play on the pitch, you have to be able to contribute more than whatever your position historically demanded. Yeah, so you can't just be a defender, play the ball out, play diagonals, be good under pressure. You know, that's where your trends come in. Even Van Dijk, the way he sprays the ball left to right, you know what I mean? Saliba, good under pressure. Thiago Silva, brilliant playmaker from the back.
Koulibaly.
Yeah, I mean. Listen. I'm just, but even he's more of a throwback. As I'm saying, like the modern footballer now has to be John Stones.
He reminds you of
John Stones, PK. Yeah, I mean, there's different guys.
But
I think that's the way football's going.
You mentioned that, but all those defenders you mentioned, I totally agree with you. But what United defender can you never mention a United defender who can do that same as Stones and Van Dijk and Saliba.
No. I think that Martinez can do it. I think he can play the ball out the back.
Run whenever he's fit.
He's not the best if you get him to like wide areas and like one-on-one defending. But in terms of bringing the ball out and finding a pass in midfield to build the attack, I think Martinez is quite good at that.
Hold forward. Let me take you back to that statement you made about players needing to do more. So I have a theory, and you let me know how you think, and then we'll go to you, Steve. So do you think that a lot of players have to do more because the players that have to do more are the players that aren't as good at their primary objective? Let me give you an example. No disrespect to Trent, but he isn't an excellent defender. So he contrasts for not being an excellent defender, being so good assist-wise that it affects his game. Like if a player was really amazing at their one specific job, do they need to be so good at a secondary job? Or do you think a lot of the players that are good at secondary jobs, maybe let's say Onana, are not great at their primary jobs?
Yeah, I think it's the first, but I think you need to be good because let me give you an example. Like Wan-Bissaka is an amazing defender. Yeah, one-on-one tackles, whatever.
Yes and no.
He probably still wouldn't get into most of the top teams. Yeah, because they want a different profile. It was no matter. Okay, you can't. Nobody can go past you one-on-one or whatever. But in this day and age, I need to create overloads. Yeah, I need because tactics are so good these days and people are so fit. Everything has become like a system game. Yeah, so the way even like the way you see the way Arsenal build up. Yeah, if you have one player that's bad in possession, it messes the whole thing up. It makes it easier to press. The minute that guy gets the ball, you press him. Well, now you can do the whole triangle thing from the defense, from Ben White to Partey to Odegaard to this whatever. You get somebody who's like very good at defending but very clunky on the ball. It messes the whole thing up. They're gonna target him. They're gonna press him. The fact that he can't step into midfield, step into the right to cover, be comfortable in the passing lanes and positions, all of that. I think it makes a listen. That's the reason. Is a blessing and a curse. Yeah, because one, it means that the players become better technically all around. But there's less mavericks, yeah, because it's all about system and they've been coached to death. Like this is how we're gonna play, this is how we're gonna build up. We work in training. Like Man City will score the same type of goal probably like 9 out of 10 times. Yeah, I mean, get the ball to Grealish, then pass it, then before it, then Haaland gets it. It's not like before where we see like just amazing goal from Suarez, hit the ball, volley the ball under Brendan Rodgers, volley the ball from halfway line, or just volleys from here, or beat 3 guys and put in the top corner. We don't really see those many type of goals anymore. Not because the players can't do it, in my opinion, but because the manager don't want them to play like that, just continuously create the chances, and eventually one will go in. I don't need one person just disrupting. We lose the ball, they counter us, and they score. You know.
So, since we've got you here, Uncle Steve, I want to ask about Liverpool. So far, you've signed, 2 midfielders. You look like you're going for your third in Lavia. So the first question I want to ask you is, how much more players do you think you need? And at the end of the transfer window, if you get what you need, do you see yourself going back to your original position as second, challenging for first, or is it possible just a top 4 and then a couple of trophies? Like, what is the expectation for Klopp this season?
Well, expectation for Klopp is simple. He's got to be challenging City for the title, because the last 5 years we've been the closest consistent team to City.
Yes.
So he set a standard now. So we have to be challenging City.
Mm-hmm.
He was allowed, out of the last 5 seasons, we won a title once.
Yeah.
Lost the title to City by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 seasons, last season included, we dropped off the pace.
Mm-hmm.
So straight away, next season we're going to be close again to City. He's got to be close again to City. That's standard.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 signings have been good. I would like to see another defender. I think that's more of a priority than a midfielder. I think we've got 2 really good midfielders, and we've got decent midfielders already.
Yeah.
I think we need a centre back.
Mm-hmm.
We need a centre back who is able to play and be comfortable in a 3 system, because you can clearly see Klopp's thinking at the end of last season by pushing Trent into midfield.
Yeah.
That's going to happen more and more, because in the last 10 games, Trent was magnificent there.
Yeah.
But Konate needs time to get used to that role, exposed 1-on-1 consistently. And he's injury prone. So we need another centre back who is good on the ball, quick, and is comfortable playing in a 3. Because when Trent moves into midfield and we lose possession, a ball over the top is going to be 1-on-1. He's going to be comfortable. So I know he wants to labour form Southampton, and I understand why, because at 19, he's primed to take over Fabinho. And I think next season, everyone's going to be after him and his value's going to go up. So I understand that, but I'd prioritise a defender, central defender, over another midfielder. And if you've got a central defender, I'd be happy with those 3 signings, the 2 midfielders, and we get another centre back. I'll be happy.
Okay.
Do you think too much money was spent on the forwards then? Do you think that it was unnecessary? Because when you think you guys have 6 forward players now with Gakpo, Nunez,
the only player
Jota.
the only player we may have overspent on possibly is Nunez. Gakpo, 35 million. I think that's fine. Diaz, 40 million. That's fine. And then obviously Salah, Jota, 40 million.
No, I'm not even thinking of the money. I'm just thinking of should there have been the priority? Would that money have been better spent elsewhere on the team? Because if everybody's fit this year, is Gakpo going to play at all? Yeah, because if he has Diaz and
Gakpo's a starter.
Jota, Diaz.
ahead of Diaz and Jota.
Gakpo's a starter in the middle. Then it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a battle. Who's going to play out wide? Salah, and then it's going to be between Diaz, Nunez. Jota will fill in for some games. Gakpo's going to be the main guy. He's primed for Firmino to take over Firmino's role. He's shown glimpses. He's a really good player. When we came in January, and yet from between January to the end of the season, I think he's done well. I think the pre-season and this season, I'm really in a forward line. For me, he's going to be possibly our standout player. Not necessarily goals scored, but contribution to the game. Similar like Firmino, in the sense that he won't get loads. He's not going to get 20 goals, but he gets 12. But again, his play, hold up forward.
He's a weird one, Gappo, actually talking about him, because he's quite awkward when he first came to Liverpool. The way he played, he didn't. Because when I watch Firmino, it looks effortless. The flicks, the tricks, the chest down, the control. But Gappo, he just looked a bit awkward on the ball, a bit clumsy.
Well, when Firmino came, it took about 2 years for everyone to wake up about Firmino. The first season, he came from Hoffenheim. Nobody really knew much about him. He seemed all right. He wasn't setting the world alight. Second season, he came more into his own. But in the third season, so it took him about 18 months before we all saw the real Firmino. Gakpo's been there 6 months. I think we're going to see more of him in this season. For me, he's got to start. Number one.
I would say. Yeah, go on. I was gonna say. I think. Yeah, go on. You go.
I was gonna say, me and Podfather, we constantly talk about one player, and you tell me maybe as a Liverpool fan, you watch more games of him. why does Jota not get as much game time or love from Liverpool fans as much as some other players? Because I think Jota's excellent for you guys. I think if he's goal,
not even just that. I think he's the best finisher at the club.
mm-hmm.
I think he's the best finisher.
Ahead of
Salah.
Ahead of Salah.
Yeah, ahead of Salah, because I think he takes less.
Yeah.
No, it's the truth. He takes less chances and scores more goals.
Mm-hmm.
He was out for like probably majority of the season last year and still came with 12, 13 goals. Yeah, he's very when he's on form, when he's going through his hot streak, that guy can score 4, 5, 3, 2. Yeah, I mean, like for me, in terms of like left foot, right foot. Salah's a better player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing that point. Yeah, but just like a finisher, a guy who looks almost like a striker type thing. He's the most similar to that, man. I've always been a fan since when he was at Wolves. So even before he came to Liverpool, if you asked him, I've always told him that for me, there's definitely a player because he reminded me of like Pedro of Barcelona. Very quick. Left foot, right foot. Yeah, I mean, just a
everywhere, plays anywhere.
Yeah, just a very dependable, hard-working player.
I agree with you on so many levels. He is. I agree. I do probably think he's as equal or definitely our best finisher, without a doubt. His stats back it up. Yeah. He works hard. He closes down. He works hard. That's kind of it to his game.
Oh, okay.
Just in the sense of he's not better than Gakpo, and I mean this. Watch Gakpo closely, even since January to the end of the season. Watch Gakpo or see clips of him more on YouTube. Yeah. He brings players into the game more than Jota. He holds the ball up better than Jota. His control is better than Jota.
I was going to ask you that because so towards the end of the game he started playing more. Towards the end of the season, he started playing more of the Firmino role, dropping deep, false nine, but now you got Dominic coming in, yeah, and he's more. So they might be playing in a lot of the same space a lot of the time because he likes to go into that behind the striker position, almost like how Dele Alli would do with Kane at times for Spurs. Yeah, that's where he tends to get a lot of his goals for like Leipzig.
I'll say now straight away, you're going to see him play different than he did at Leipzig. Similar to how when Ronaldo was at Newcastle, goal scorer, came to Liverpool, and then suddenly Ronaldo's a box midfielder and was
Dembele.
He was brilliant. He was a brilliant, but at Newcastle, he was very much more almost like a number 10 at Newcastle, scoring goals. We bought him. I thought Ronaldo was going to play attacking. He changed him to a box-to-box midfielder, and look at that. And when Ronaldo went, that showed how important he was to the team. And I think with Dominic, with Szoboszlai, he's going to say, I still want you to be creative, but you're now going to have to do a lot of work in that midfield. That's going to be your party.
Sorry, just going back to young Steve. Is the Thiago situation that's finished? Like the Thiago project is done.
If
we get Lavia, Thiago's gone.
Okay.
Or vice versa. If Thiago we'll get him.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like getting rid of Thiago?
I don't get me wrong. Thiago's brilliant. 5 years ago, he's not going anywhere. But injury and age, what can?
But isn't this the time to keep him? Because now you can afford to have a luxury player. Before you couldn't because you needed him to play because the other guys were all on their way out. But now that your midfield is stacked, you can bring him in for those big games. You can bring him in to slow down the game. You can, he can play his 15 games a season, like almost like the way, like obviously people say, oh yeah, you have to have the squad, you have to keep the squad numbers down and then salary cap or whatever. But how are we gonna catch City? Yeah, if we can't even like try things like this, let's just keep Thiago for a season. I don't know if he'd be happy to do it, but if he is. Let him come off the bench for 7 games. Let him do the Champions League thing. Let him do the cup final. Let him do the big games against City and the Man United and stuff like that.
The reason why, the number one reason why is Lavia. If we can get him this season, Klopp will say, I will substitute letting Thiago go and getting Lavia for the future rather than keeping Thiago for one more season. Lavia will then go to another club because there'll be a bidding war. Price is going to go up. He will have the pick of the clubs next season. Thiago will go next season, and then we're going to be in a slump to say, well, who can we get? There's other good players out there, but Klopp has definitely pinpointed Lavia as a player he wants. And he knows if he doesn't get him this summer, next summer, Newcastle, City, they're all going to come in for him. City have got the buyback clause next season.
50 million,
40.
He's primed to be there and maybe take over Rodri. So Klopp is thinking, if I don't get him this summer, he's gone.
It's over.
So he's got to
Yeah,
think.
I think
Getting him or not.
Southampton are asking for crazy prices though.
They are,
50 million.
But we're
That's a
good.
bit
We're good.
nuts.
Liverpool have a beast at negotiating.
Yeah.
So trying to get him for 30 or 35, he would sacrifice Thiago going for Latvia for the medium to long term. I kind of agree because Thiago's been injury prone for the last 18 months a lot, and if he does likely get an injury, the backup in terms of the squad is fine, but then you're sacrificing possibly getting later, who's like he'll be at Liverpool for life.
So yeah, to go into your young players, it seemed like last season was the project. Oh, the last season, the season before, last couple of years, you guys have definitely transitioned to try and bring a lot of youth players in. For example, Fabio Carvalho. You have obviously Harvey Elliott, and the one that I want to talk about, Curtis Jones. It seems that Curtis Jones just won the Under-21s World Cup with England. What is happening with the Curtis Jones project? Because all the time I see Liverpool always talking about midfielders. They need midfielders, but Curtis Jones is never really in the picture. Like you never really hear about.
He's got a good run prior to the end of last season. The last 2 seasons, he gets a run of 2, 3, 4 games. Never really produces. I don't know if it's his. I think it's confidence. He's got the ability. The last 6, 7 games of last season, he played regularly and probably was our best outfield performer in most of those games. Now we come to the summer, we've got to get new midfielders. He may have just left it too late to prove the cop that he can hold it down. We've got 2 new midfielders, so he's now pushed back in the pecking order. I would still love to keep him. I would rather get rid of one of the older players. Because if you're playing 3 midfield, you need minimum 5. And I would look at shifting it. Thiago, I mean, I love Thiago, but again, injury and age. Fabinho, I'm 50-50. If an offer came in for him, I'd accept it. If he stayed, I'd be okay. But he's got to prove himself, and he's under pressure. So there's no top one have no problems dropping Fabinho for a Henderson and playing Curtis Jones. So
I'm hearing that Henderson might be going though.
Saudi Arabia.
He's not going anywhere. Henderson's not going anywhere. If anyone's going to go, it'll be Thiago or Fabinho first.
Henderson is the one that almost has to stay.
Listen, if they come in with a 30 million offer to Liverpool are taking that money, man. FSG don't care. They're taking that money. Like, listen, Henderson, bye.
Henderson doesn't get the thing about Henderson. He's obviously nowhere near as good as Thiago. Don't get me nowhere. But what you get from Henderson is his willingness, determination, his drive, his character. And in the team of the flair players or the gap players and the Salahs, you always need that one. And even as you said in our glory days 3-4 years ago, Henderson was pivotal in that midfield 3 for Fabinho, Henderson, and Ronaldo. None of them are great. None of them are actually great players. They're good players. But you look at those 3, and I wouldn't substitute any of them in that system. And you think they're all working hard, and there's no issues. You're going to get 7 out of 10 every single week. Maybe Fabinho in his heyday, you get 8 or 9, and maybe Ronaldo occasionally. Henderson was always 7 consistently. He's like a Milner, 7 out. And you got to remember, Milner played for City for 4 years. Liverpool for 6 years.
But what's Henderson giving you now though? Not 3 years ago. What did he give you last year? What did he give you?
Okay, last year when we nearly won the quadruple, he played.
No. That was the year before. Last year when you came 5th.
Yeah, last year he didn't give us as much. But that happened 4 years ago when we won the title.
And he stayed 3.
But the season we won the title, the following season, we had a disastrous season. All the team played poorly. Henderson played badly. Fans were saying, get rid of him. Next season, 2 years ago, we nearly won the quadruple. Who's pivotal in the midfield? Henderson. Thiago played well, but Thiago was injured a lot. Even Keita chipped in and played really well. But Henderson was the mainstay in that team. Fabinho's been on the slump for about 18 months. But the season before last, where we nearly won a quadruple, the most consistent midfielder was Henderson. Liverpool fans, and Liverpool fans will say it. He's not technically gifted. He's not going to score goals. But when you look at a midfielder who's not injured, gives 110%, but most importantly, he puts in those tackles. He gets his body behind the ball. You think, well, you know, I'd rather that than get a Fabinho 8 out of 10, but he only shows up for half the season.
I hear what you're saying.
Wait. Sorry. Just to interrupt you before. Since we're talking about legs and runners, we're going to talk about Henderson's protege that almost went to Liverpool, Mason Mount. Do you think that? Do you think that
goals and assists?
Do you think that Mason Mount? You missed out on signing Mason Mount. When you heard about the news, did you want him? Are you happy with the way that he went?
when I heard we were after him, I looked at him. I thought he's not a Liverpool player. He didn't a Klopp player. Sorry, not Liverpool. He's not a Klopp player. I don't know if it was how true it was we were after him. We were watching, but I don't really believe it. There was a lot of agents talking, people that we was really. I don't think Klopp was really after him. It was just agents talking.
You think Klopp spoke to Kante and then Mason Mount got in the way and he's like, move.
I think it was a case of Mount said, "Look, I'm not going to stay at Chelsea." Klopp thought, squad player, because he wasn't going to come to Liverpool and start. He would have been a squad player and thought, for 30 million or 35 million, we'll get him. When Chelsea said they want 60 million, I put an end to it. I can get McAllister for 35 million, rising to 50. What you do the math, McAllister or Mount? And even if you chose Mount, would you say there's a big difference from 35 million to 60 million for Mount? Same age, 24. No. Mount 60 million, McAllister 35, possibly rising to 50. You do the maths, and you look at their performances over the last 18 months, and why would you think Mount is worth nearly double? Nah, it doesn't.
This is what I say in defense of Mount, even though he's left my club. Yeah, and I really don't care.
That Man United legend.
Yeah? But objectively, Mount scored more goals than McAllister in his career. More assists, more goals.
You don't buy someone off their career.
No, calm down.
You don't buy someone off their career. You don't buy them.
No, listen. You don't usually buy them off one season either. Especially if you imagine that.
No. You more buy
the all-round player. Who's the better all-round midfielder?
But listen what I'm saying. Yeah. When Wijnaldum and Henderson, like you said, when Klopp gets it, are nowhere near those players. So he's shown that he's not looking for the finished article. He can take guys with potential and turn them into those guys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying in terms of Dominic, yeah, you're going to be converting that guy if you're trying to recreate that whole Henderson Wijnaldum model, which I think you almost the game has to evolve past that. You can't just have the three pressing midfielders forever and the Gegen press or whatever. I think you would have to evolve to become like a more technical, controlling midfield. Maybe even play with like 2 8s, like City with a Gundogan and a Kevin, type thing, and allow Fabinho, get someone in who can do like a Rodri role, who can like defend by himself, and then maybe Trent comes into midfield and defends with the defender, because I don't see this midfield becoming like the Henderson and thing. I don't think they have the legs. I don't think McAllister has the legs.
Exactly. I agree.
I think it's too much of a project. That's it. I'm going to teach Dominic to become a pressing guy. The funny thing about Dominic's never even played in a 3 in the midfield.
He's only 22. He does press.
He's only 22, and last year at Leipzig, he either played like right behind the striker or on the right. They played a 4-4-2 for majority of the season. So this guy, nobody knows what he's going to do in midfield. Now with a Mason Mount, who played as an 8 for most of his career, his pressing numbers are.
He didn't play as an 8. He didn't play as an 8 when you guys won.
I didn't say at Chelsea. I said majority of his career. He's 24, So when it was at Vitesse derby, so he knows the role, Lampard's first season as well, his in terms of his running stats, pressing numbers or whatever, way higher than both those players. He's played in Champions League final. He's played in Champions League semi-final. He's played in big games. He's used to the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to take time to settle in Liverpool.
Million more? Is he worth 30 million more than McAllister? That's the question he's asking.
No, but there's also Dominic that he just pays 50. How much you pay for Dominic?
Yeah, Dominic, because Dominic is 60 million.
Yeah.
Dominic at 22, his overall record, you got to say, look at Dominic, his overall record, and obviously you got to say the potential. Mount, you're buying Mount as a finish.
Off a bad season. You're buying him off a bad season.
Yeah, and you're buying Mount not potential of what he's done. So you're basically saying Mount's going to go into United and they're expecting him to deliver from day one. They're not going to say to Mount, we'll give you 2 years. Szoboszlai, he's got no pressure in his first season to do well, because at 22, 6 minutes, he's going to take. McAllister's under more pressure because they're saying, look what you've done for Brighton for 2 years. Look what you've done for Argentina. Come on, you've got to see it. And Mount's the same. They're going to say, Mount, we've seen you for 3, 4, 5 years now. You've got to deliver now for United. So he's a McAllister.
So why not get two players who are ready now? If you want to challenge now, you don't want to wait 2 years for City. What's going on? City are going to buy players
as well.
But if you want to challenge them now, why not get two midfielders?
But no.
I don't think Sloboslay's going to start. I think McAllister's a guaranteed start. Yeah. Sloboslay's not a guaranteed start. He's going to come in and out. I think you saw the signs last season with Trent going into midfield. We were, if you think about it, top four was gone. Yeah. Suddenly, when Klopp changed the system, we were on a roll, and we put you guys under pressure for top four. I didn't think we was going to get it. We didn't. But suddenly, from 9th and 8th, we went out to 5th, and suddenly they were talking about top four. Yeah. That coincided with players coming back from injury and also Trent going into midfield. So Klopp's adapted and changing the style. And we had injuries. We had players coming from injury. So going into this season, I don't think it was a huge change. Just that we needed two midfielders, someone who's going to go in and start McAllister. Szoboszlai will start some games. He's going to blend him in.
But not just that as well. You've also got Szoboszlai who can go onto the right hand side. So you've got him from if Salah gets injured, he can go into the right hand side. He can drift in. He can play multiple positions. What I was also going to say is there's little things that you guys aren't noticing that I think about Mason Mount and Szoboszlai. If you buy Mason Mount, one, you need him to perform today, and though it may be 60 mil, Mason Mount, what, 250, 300,000 a week? Szoboszlai, what, 120? Like, that 250 to 300 grand is big money. Big money.
Mount has to deliver from day one. He has to deliver. I will give you a season or two to settle in. Szoboszlai's not even going to be a starter for Liverpool. No. Szoboszlai will come in and will play. Anfield, they'll probably play him an Anfield game with a crowd behind him, and for games that are lower teams that are in the lower half of the division, he'll blend him in. Yeah. But Mount is going in. He's going to start. I believe he's going to start for United, and he's got to deliver from day one. Exactly. I don't know if he will succeed or not. I don't know, but there's more pressure on him. Szoboszlai's got a season to probably bed his way in, get to know the language better. He speaks English, but get to know it better. Learn the system. He'll be sub a lot of the time, coming on. He'll play the Europa League and Carling Cups, etc. Mount, they're expecting a finished article.
He's got the number 7. He's got the number 7.
Exactly. He's not coming in for potential, so he's got a weight. Mount's got a weight on his shoulders. And
what did you think of Gallagher? Did you think Gallagher was going to happen? Because we really heard a lot of news with Gallagher, Chelsea to Liverpool. Or was that another one we thought was just paper talk?
Another paper talk. Gallagher and Mount, I thought was just paper talk. I honestly think Klopp was interested. So he makes a feeler, and then when he gets